Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bible study number 3 of the series, so day 3. And today we are reading Genesis chapter 39. So if you missed it, we read Genesis chapter 1, chapter 37, which was on day 1, which was about Joseph's dream. Then they sold him to the Ishmaelites. His brothers sold him to the Ishmaelites. And then on Genesis chapter 38, we read the story about Judah and Tamar. And now we are going to move on to chapter 39, which is when Joseph arrives in Egypt. Now you're probably thinking, how does the story of Tamar and Judah fit into all of this? I'm also not sure. The weirdest thing though is that Jesus is called the Lion of Judah, and that Perez, which is Tamar's son, one of the twins, is in the lineage of Jesus. So that just also shows the grace that God has upon us. It doesn't matter what you have done, but when God gives you grace, He will show out in your life. And I just want you to comment down below, where do you see God's grace in your life? Where do you feel like He put you in a position where you felt like I was not qualified, or I don't deserve to be here? So just comment down below and let us know. It will be nice to read through that. So let's get into chapter 39. So grab your Bibles and your notebooks, and we're going to start reading. When Joseph was taken to Egypt by the Ishmaelite traders, he was purchased by Potiphar, an Egyptian officer. Potiphar was captain of the guard for Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Now, I also did put an explanation of the Egyptian officer. The word officer is taken from the word a eunuch, and a eunuch are people who basically don't have men who don't have private parts, and I guess it's because they were there to guard women so that they're not tempted to do things to women. So I just wanted to put that over here. Number 2, the Lord was with Joseph, so he succeeded in everything he did as he served in the home of Egyptian master. Potiphar noticed this and realized that the Lord was with Joseph, giving him success in everything he did. I love how this is obviously said twice and highlighted, that when you succeed, when everything that you touch is a success and doing well, that's when the Lord is with you. That's when you know the Lord is with you. So it's highlighted that the Lord was with Joseph. So everything that he did, he succeeded. And even Potiphar noticed that and realized that, wow, the Lord is with this one. And everything he gives him, he succeeds in it. Number 4. This pleased Potiphar, so he soon made Joseph his personal attendant. He put him in charge of his entire household and everything he owned. From the day Joseph was put in charge of his master's household and property, the Lord began to bless Potiphar's household for Joseph's sake. Wow. So again, remember I asked you guys to please comment down below which positions or places do you feel like you have been put in that you didn't deserve, that you see God's grace in, that you were not qualified. Like, I don't even have a degree, but I've got this position. I didn't even have to be here for over 2 years, and I've already been promoted to this position, just like Joseph. Over here, as you can see. And what's nice is now Potiphar is being blessed because of Joseph's sake. As you can see, the Lord began to bless Potiphar's household for Joseph's sake. So there are places where God puts you in and blesses you, and then the place ends up being blessed. So for example, let's say you are a waitress in a restaurant. You start working in that restaurant, and that restaurant is always overflowing with customers, and it was quiet before then, but all of a sudden when you started working, it started overflowing with orders and customers, and God is blessing that place because of you. Okay, I'm going to carry on reading. All his household affairs ran smoothly, and his crops and livestock flourished. Wow. So Potiphar gave Joseph complete administrative responsibility over everything he owned. With Joseph there, he didn't worry about a thing except what kind of food to eat. So again, have you been that kind of person where when you start at this position, you're really like being promoted? The boss doesn't have to worry about what's going on because they know that you are onto it. Things are going to get done, and even like things are getting done. Things are doing, better than they were before. And that's when you are a loyal servant to God. That's when you receive a lot of favor to God as well. So sometimes you look at someone and you're like, wow, they are so blessed. But actually, have you look at how they are, favoring God? How they position themselves in front of other people in a Christ-like way, not in a wicked way, in a way that God, of course, will favor them and give them that grace. So it's easy for us to look at people and be like, oh, they're so blessed, now they've got this promotion, etc. But when you actually turn it around, you be like, what is this person actually doing as well that maybe I can start doing? Except what you can eat. Joseph was a very handsome and well-built young man, okay? And Potiphar's wife soon began to look at him lustfully. Come and sleep with me, she demanded. That is intense. So obviously Joseph was good looking. You can just imagine a tall, handsome looking man. And Potiphar's wife, like just being weak. I wrote here woman's weakness is a good looking man who's very like well built. You see, it says well built. You can just imagine his arms, his abs, he's just strong looking, but also looking at him lustfully, like just wanting to really sleep with him, have sex with him. And over here, I did mention that being called an Egyptian officer, a eunuch, means that they private parts were taken out so that they watch for women without being tempted to do lustful things. So maybe the wife was in desperate need of, that satisfaction to be met. Or maybe she was just being weak. I'm not sure which one was it. Number 8, but Joseph refused. Look, he told her, my master trusts me with everything in his entire household. No one here has more authority than I do. He has held back nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How could I do such a wicked thing? It would be such a great sin against God. Oh, Joseph, such a righteous man. Obviously, he's like, look, lady, my master trusts me in everything. He's given me authority, and, I cannot, do such a wicked thing. But also, I would be sinning against God. Like, he has a massive fear for God. Even though he's been through so much, he's been thrown in the cistern, that big hole that we spoke about. He has been betrayed by his family. He has been sold to the slaves, but still, he still fears God. He still doesn't want to sin against God. Even through the bad things he went through, it's easy for us to go through stuff and be like, you know what, I'm done with God. Like, there's no such thing. He was not going to allow me to go through what I went through if he was really there. But Joseph still was loyal and faithful to God. Number 10, she kept putting pressure on Joseph day after day after day. Can you just imagine how desperate she was? But he refused to sleep with her, and he kept out of her way as much as possible. One day, however, no one else was around. When he went in to do his work, she came and grabbed him by his cloak, demanding, "Come on, sleep with me." Joseph tore himself away, but he left his cloak in her hands as he ran from the house. So he ran for his life. Well done, Joseph. Because he was like, oh my gosh, like this lady won't stop, and it doesn't feel right. It's not okay. So he just ran. 13. When she saw that she was holding his cloak and he had fled, she called out her servants. Soon all the men came running. "Look," she said, "my husband has brought this Hebrew slave." So even saying it like that, this Hebrew slave, I can just imagine it nowadays. It would be like a racial slur, My husband has brought this black man or whatever here to make fools of us. He came into my room to rape me, but I screamed. What a damn liar. When he heard me scream, he ran outside and got away, but he left his cloak behind with me. I think here she was just embarrassed and really wanted Joseph to, suffer the consequences of, rape, even though he didn't do a single thing to her. She kept the cloak with her until her husband came home. Then she told him her story. "That Hebrew slave you've brought into our house tried to come in, fool around with me," she said. "But when I screamed, he ran outside, leaving his cloak with me." 19. Potiphar was furious. When he heard his wife's story about how Joseph had treated her, so he took Joseph and threw him into the prison where the king's prisoners were held. Okay, so it's not the filthy prison, it's a king's prisoner. I guess it's like a white collar prison. And there he remained, but the Lord was with Joseph. Oh, I love that. Let me just highlight that. But the Lord was with Joseph in prison and showed him his faithful love. And the Lord made Joseph a favorite with the prison ward. Before long, the warden put Joseph in charge. As you can see, the lady put Joseph down, and wherever Joseph goes, he still gets promoted. He still is in charge. So he was let down by his family, his brothers, and he was sold as a slave, but he was still promoted and was given positions that are higher than everybody else's. And now here he's in prison, and the warden has now made Joseph in charge of all the other prisoners and over everything that happened in prison. The warden had no worries because Joseph took care of everything. The Lord was with him and caused everything he did to succeed. Wow. I want you to remove him and put your name over there. The Lord is with Norma and caused everything she did to succeed. That is an affirmation that you should put down on your journal right now, which let's start our lesson keynotes. The keynotes for today's Bible study. So today we did Genesis. Today is the 7th of Jan, and we did Genesis 39. Okay, so the first keynote is that affirmation over there, which is 23. The Lord is with Norma and caused everything she does to succeed. So you can also change this and say, the Lord is with me and caused everything I do to succeed. So you can word it however way, but it's a beautiful affirmation. Okay, let's see what keynote we also got from the other verses. So for me, one of the things that I really love is that Joseph found favor with God. And when you find favor with God, You will succeed in everything that you do. You will be promoted. Your business will flourish. Your business will flourish. People will trust you, things like that. But also, in between that, the enemy prowls like a lion looking for someone it's going to devour. So in between all of that, Joseph was being tempted to do things that are going to cause him to sin, and that sin was going to be what's going to stop him from ever reaching that dream that he dreamed of. So if he ended up actually sleeping with this lady, he wasn't going to find favor with God. Even if maybe he wasn't going to get caught. Remember what we read with Tamar and Judah, with Onan, doing his wickedness. God still saw that. So God took his life. So Joseph knew that God is watching my every step, and I don't want to sin against God. I don't want to do something wrong, even though I am being put in prison when I am innocent, but I don't want to do something wrong. And Joseph kept finding favor with God because of that. So even in the midst of you finding favor with the Lord, the enemy will try and tempt you. Don't fall into the trap. Don't fall into the trap. What the enemy is trying to do here with tempting you with this beautiful lady who wants to have sex with you, which is Potiphar's wife, is so that you can step out of the path that God has put you in, that path that's going to help you succeed, and your dreams will become a reality. Those dreams that you had years ago that you still have till today, they're going to become a reality. But the enemy knows that your dreams, because God is not a human to tease us, to lie. Every promise that God has made, every vision that God has given you, it's because it is an imagination. It's an image that you are going to reach one day. But if you fall for the earthly pleasures, so, like sleeping with a married person over here, that's what Joseph was going to do, sleeping with this married woman, or, doing things that are going to cause you to not find favor with God, the enemy knows that that's going to get you off your path of where you're meant to be. So just be careful of that. Know that in the midst of God favoring you and being with you, the enemy is there to come into your family and make your family betray you, make your brothers sell you to slavery and things like that Joseph is going through. And when Joseph saw the dream of, him, one day being king and them bowing down to him, God didn't show him though what he would go through. He didn't show him he was going to go to prison. He was going to be thrown by his brothers in that pit and be sold to slavery. He was going to get a very thirsty, desperate wife who's going to tempt him, to sleep with him and try and get him killed. Things like that he did not know, but he still is holding on to that vision and that dream that God has put in his mind. And that's all for me. I think I have done a lot of talking, but as women as well, things like this, we have to be careful where we see this beautiful, handsome, well-built young man. If you're a married woman, stay away from the enemy's tricks who's trying to make you, fall for someone else just because they look good, or if they are married, stay away from them, because you could be just 1 month away from your breakthrough and then you just mess it up by one little mistake. So be careful of things like that. What else did I want to say? I wanted to say that you will be blessed in your workplace. If some of you are working, some of you own your own businesses, some of you are working and own your own businesses, you will be blessed in your workplace. You'll be promoted. You'll be put in positions that you don't deserve. I've got my prayer journal that I was reading earlier, and I was praying for 1,000 subscribers. I was like, God, please give me 1,000 subscribers. and I saw how I had 200 subscribers at the time, and now I'm on 10,000 subscribers. God has put me in positions that I feel like I didn't deserve. I never thought I'd get to 10,000 subscribers, and all I just want you to be reminded of is this word over here. The one that really stood out to me is, the Lord was with Joseph, so he succeeded in everything he did. So when you are loyal to God and you're faithful to God, there will be blessings in your workplace, in your business, because where the Lord is, you will succeed. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's study. Comment down below what you learned, your views. Answer the questions I asked you at the beginning. Where do you see grace in your life with God? And also, people have been asking me, sorry, this is my work planner. What Bible am I using? It's called the Spiritual Growth Bible. I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty old. Spiritual Growth Bible. I bought it from Cum Books. I don't know if it's still there, but this is how it looks. This is the version, New Living Translation. I like this version. Yeah, that's, I don't know if I can find anything else that's gonna help, but yeah, this is it. That's all that I can show you. But I really hope you enjoyed today's chapter 39. Tomorrow we're going to chapter 40, where Joseph is interpreting 2 dreams. So that one is going to be nice and interesting as well. Bye, guys.